Hemda has a new What's My Name show out. Number 41, Owning the Comedy Cellar. She talks to, spoiler, the owner of the Comedy Cellar.
I've been talking to you guys a little bit about this for a while. I'm so excited about this. I remember after I recorded this, Lauren and Keith were down the block at a bar, and I after he left, I ran down the block and I was like, oh my God, I can't wait until you guys hear this, because I have such a weird relationship with Noam. This is not new, not to him if he hears this, not to me. I've known him for years and years and years, but we both are sort of awkward around each other. And some of that is tapped into in this show. But I mean, he talks about everybody, Louis C.K., Chappelle. He knows all these people because he owns the club. Attell, Greg Giraldo, Kevin Brennan, like Robin Williams. All these people have been performing in his club, know him by name. And it's very interesting what happens in the actual club and his perception of it, because he really is just a normal dude just going, you know?
Right.
Like, well, I know how to do this, but everything else is just kind of awkward, you know?
I love this kind of behind-the-scenes stuff. It's why I loved having the two bookers on yesterday. But when Noam starts talking about joke thieving, how do you feel being an owner? That's my number one topic, of course. And heckling, and how do you deal with celebrity pop-ins? Hey, I want to do stand-up now. Oh, okay. Do you, Seinfeld? Is booking difficult in general? Here's a little clip I'm going to play. This is about fights that go on between the comedians and the hecklers.
But we've had a comedian run off stage and try to choke a member of the audience.
What?
Yeah. And then just recently, Kurt Metzger had got into a big fight with a member of the audience where the guy punched Kurt, boxed his ear, and then Kurt gave him a black eye.
This is recently?
Yeah, this is like a month ago.
Wait, what happened?
How was it?
Kurt Metzger is getting into some issues with some people lately.
He was.
I think that's fair to say. It's in the newspaper.
He was like, the guy's girlfriend is really hot. Oh my God, she was hot. This guy's girlfriend was like kind of like teasing Kurt a little bit, and Kurt was kind of gently quieting her down. And then at some point, he used the C word, and then the guy was defending his girl's honor. But then Kurt diffused it, and the guy waited for Kurt afterwards, just as Kurt walked off stage, was still in the room, and boxed Kurt's ear. And then Kurt gave him a black eye, and the guy insisted on calling the police, and the police arrested the guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he had hit Kurt first.
Wow. What? How would you have dealt with it? Just be like, all right, you both hit each other, everybody go home?
Yeah, of course, that's what I would want, because I'm the one who's going to get sued.
Can you imagine being a comic? These comics have balls sometimes to heckle. Because 2013, you don't know who's crazy out. You don't know who just 3D printed out a gun. You don't know what's happening. And it's like, fuck you, you cunt. And it's like, okay, I'm going to kill you now.
To me, it sounds like Kurt was right. You know,
right.
He tried a couple times. He tried gently.
Still.
You know, and I don't think that Noam is just protecting his comedians.
Right.
People don't want to get into a fight with their audience. They're just trying to move along.
Right.
I thought it was also really interesting what Noam said about hecklers. Not what I expected out of the club owner and how to deal with heckling.
Okay.
And so I thought that was interesting. I also thought it was interesting that in this clip, my brilliant interviewing skills was, what? No. I loved interviewing him. So thank you to Noam Dorman. If you don't know the Comedy Cellar, you have to know it. Louis C.K., it's in his opening credits. Seinfeld's movie Comedian. A lot of shots happen down at the Cellar or up at the Olive Tree, which is right above it, and Noam owns them both. It's a great comedy club. You get all the headliners. It's a place that we've been talking about for years on this show, and so it was really a pleasure to interview him.
I think it's interesting in that clip when he says, and this one woman front row, and she was hot. I mean, hot. It's like he started masturbating. Like, just remembering how hot. Guys are such weirdos. It has nothing to do with the story, right? But God, I remember she was gorgeous, right? So anyway, okay, it reminds me of who's that college football announcer? I forget where it was at, let's say Tennessee. And he's commenting on the game. This is a big game, some kind of bowl. I don't watch college football. But so everybody's watching it on TV. And they go to the quarterback's girlfriend in the stands, and she is gorgeous. But this old man announcer, he can't help himself, and he's like, look at that. Now, if you're a young man and you're thinking about playing high school football, you give it all you got, because you go to college and you get a woman like this. And the guy next to him's throwing water on him. Calm down. He's like, I can't help it. And people. I remember reporting on this, and people said, Keith, what's the big deal? He's just saying somebody's pretty. That's how clueless men are.
Yeah.
Like you don't know. You shouldn't be going. I mean, you tried. You're gonna get yourself one of them. What? Why can't a guy just say that? It's a compliment.
You know what it reminds me of? The panel that they have on ESPN on before big football games, and they have people just commenting and running stats and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of times they'll have one woman there, and that woman is super hot and like legitimately exactly perfect. Do you know what I mean? So in normal men's eyes, right? I keep putting my foot in my mouth. Normal men's eyes, she's exactly perfect, whatever it is. Anyway, hot girl. This one guy was like, I'm not allowed to look at you. This is a person that is semi-co-anchoring or whatever you want to call it. She's not on the panel, but she is. I don't remember what her deal was, but at some point she comes in and talks to the men as part of her job and her living. He claims he can't look at her because his wife will be mad. Now, if I was his wife, I'd be so insulted that you said that on air. And if I thought like that, I shouldn't get married. You can't look at this person who you work with. And if I was that other anchor woman, I'm like, then that's all you know how to look at me as. You're obviously not looking at me as your colleague. Neither is your wife. That's terrible.
Right. By the way, is Brett Musburger talking about Alabama's QB's girlfriend? Yeah, I was close. Is Alabama in Tennessee? I'm Still Tony said, always fascinating. Hemda has to be one of the best interviews I've ever heard. And she has the uncanny ability to look you dead in your eyes, through your soul, to the point you almost hand her your keys and your wallet. I witnessed it in person, I swear. KeithAndTheGirl.com